who keeps finding herself in the same patterns, the same reactions, the same relational dynamics, and quietly wonders, why does this keep happening? Well, if the issue isn't your willpower, what if it's something deeper, something inherited, something running quietly beneath the surface? Today, I'm joined with Ginell Turner, known as Miss Ginell, a trauma informed educator and director of Soul Reconstruction Project. Her work centers on identifying what she calls ghost software and unseen belief systems, trauma bonds, and generational patterns that shape our decisions long before we realize they're there. Ginell doesn't just help people understand their pain, she helps them dismantle it and then, with intention, rebuild something structurally sound, sovereign, and aligned. So, this conversation matters because awareness is not enough. Healing requires reconstruction. And if you've ever felt stuck in cycles you cannot fully explain, this episode is for you. So, Ginell, so honored to have you with me today.
Yes, we were just connecting before, and I love it. Like, we're definitely going to talk again. Thank you so much. You did that so well. Like, I feel like I don't have to say too much because that's really at my core, like what it is that I do and how it all came together. And yes, my name is Miss Ginell. I actually came up with that just because during COVID was when I was told to make a YouTube because we couldn't be with our preschoolers anymore. And so they asked us to make a YouTube and read for the kids because that's what we did in the classroom. And then yoga is another thing that I did in the classroom. So there's a few yoga videos up there, and I was thinking about doing those again recently. But now I've changed it and formed it into something that's led me there, like really led me there. And so half of it is actually like a third of it is Kenzie's Corner, which I focus on books, but I'm like, I know actually reading aloud is there's a lot of like just reading the book out loud is a lot of different copyright issues and stuff with that. But I try to read with my daughter with intention. So I'm like, okay, well, what I do, and I have my teaching, 13 years of that. I have my master's in education. So when I did my study program, I was teaching on the side, doing like little word things and comprehension with kids. And that was really important to me. Like, I don't want to just read a book over and over again. Like, I want to have a deep conversation with my child if I'm able to. And we were just talking about Inside Out, and I'm a big movie person. My bachelor's is actually in film and media arts and a minor in psychology. So I just love movies. I look at movies in a different way. I'll watch any movie just to, like, I don't know, I just want to see cinematically the actors, the dynamics, the kind of things they use for the camera edits, like everything. So I'm like, I'll watch anything. But another thing, part of my website is my YouTube is Care for My Hair, which I started that club last year. Two clubs I've started in my journeys has been a poetry club, which writing is a really important to me, really important to, generations. And I've been going back in my journals lately and realizing like this is literally my life. Like, this is something that I can go back, and even things that I've blocked out, I'm now able to recall because I wrote it down. And it's like now I'm able to process it in a 10-year gap of so much growth, and like, wow, like I can have grief and I can have hope and passion and like resilience by looking at my journal. So I just like, if anything, if I leave here saying anything, I encourage people to write in journals, and I encourage them to get their kids to write in journals. I had a journal and I started writing in third grade. That's when I started my journal. So when I go through my room and I move and I have all these journals, I'm like, wow, like I used to be like, oh my God, who's gonna get my journals when I die? And I'm like, oh my God. But now I'm like, wow, like maybe I want to write an autobiography. Someone told me I should do that. And I was like, oh, and that's what made me go back into my journal. So anyway, Care for My Hair is focused on social emotional learning, but your hair, like the same way you take care of your hair is the same way you take care of your soul. And I've started like this kind of workshop now that focuses on the soul, mind, and the body, and kind of the three strands of the braid. And I weaved into my course just like everything you learn about hair, but also learn about yourself. Kids, they were fifth graders, they're going into middle school, and 10-year-olds, I don't know what age your kids are, but 10-year-olds, a lot of emotions, friendships, feeling like who I'm going to be. And middle school is a jump from fifth grade in a lot of ways. So just all of that, I could tell. And one thing that kind of drew me away from teaching like within the classroom was that I felt like that wasn't being cared for. That wasn't being nurtured, maybe not at home, but it definitely wasn't being nurtured at school. And
Right.
so I felt myself like that last year, just being like, this isn't like connecting. I'm not waking up the same way I used to. Like, I always would tell people, like, I know I could be doing more. I want to do more. I feel like always be cut short in some way, shape, or how. Um, so that would led me to continue doing that on my website and focusing on topics that have to do with like self-reliance, um, love, self-love. Self-care is not just getting your nails done. Self-care is maybe doing 15 minutes of meditating or writing in your journal for 2 minutes, reading a book. Like there's so many ways that you can take care of yourself in 3 different ways. And like we need all of those ways. And that's what I stress with the braid is like you can't be loose in this area and expect the braid to hold. So like we've got to work through it. It's really, really tough. And this is how I led myself to where I am today is by, I keep practicing until you get it right. And that's what I hope to encourage just to the young girls and boys. And also, like you said, teaching our parents to help, not even parents. Everyone is a role model. I try to stress that we are all, whether you like kids or not, like they're looking up to you. If you're in the limelight, they're looking up to you. And we don't like the kids because we're the ones creating them. So like maybe we should fix it.
That's so funny. Yeah, that line right there was this gold. We don't like the kids, but we created them. It's like, yeah, I mean, it is funny, not funny, how little ones, toddlers are so sweet and really do not see they just love each other, especially when you get multiple different races together. There's no hate because they don't know how
Hmm.
to, right?
Yeah.
It is taught. And so it's like, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I love being a part of the school district we're a part of. There's 33 different countries all represented in this little melting pot in this community because we have a lot of refugees that come here. And
Mm,
so, my kids are get the opportunity
that's
to
so
be around different accents, different skin colors, all the different things. And so it's nice because unlike my opportunity, it's just because I was born in a community that was in the middle of nowhere. What are we going to
good.
do? Right. But still the thing is that regardless if you're in the middle of nowhere or in a melting pot community, there's no need to create, hey, you act look different than me, you speak different than me, or any of the things. It shouldn't matter. Right.
Mhm.
And I think there are many people out there like yourself, in the community that I'm in, myself, who are just like, let's be love, show love, and everything else changes around us, right? We've been trying to do this for decades, and I think we're finally in a good place. If you turn the TV off, we get along a lot better than we think we do.
Yeah,
It's like
yes.
really allowing the narrative to tell you that we don't.
Hmm.
But I'd love to pivot back to some of the things that you would love, all about who you are. When did you first begin to recognize that patterns in your life or the lives of others weren't random but rooted in something deeper?
Hmm. Definitely when I got pregnant.
Okay.
When I got pregnant, everything, I mean, pretty much everything about 2020 and my relationship was the complete opposite of what I said was going to happen. So it kind of made me think, am I even running this ship? Like, where the heck am I going? Because I thought I did everything right, but I'm extremely unhappy. And this is supposed to be the happiest time of my life. Like Disney World happy. Like, what do you mean? So it was then that just was thinking about this earlier. It was like I was healing along the way from other things that happened in my trauma. I've always been going to counseling. I always knew that, this is in my background. I need to work on this, or just from relationships and reflecting. I'm a reflective and empathetic person. So I really do kind of overthink, like, okay, what did I do? Like, how can I help? And I'm a giver. And that kind of turned me into a codependent and a giver until I was just had depleted myself. So I did learn along the way some things, but I think it's a different thing when you're healing for yourself and then you're healing for like your generation, like your ancestors, like the tree of life, like that's a whole different project. And I think that's what the Soul Reconstruction Project really focuses on, and is different than just focusing on yourself. It's like really passing that down so your children do not have to do the 20 years of figuring it out, like Jeopardy with the questions and stuff. Like, no, I was just talking to actually another mother about diversity in school. I want her to be somewhere diverse, and I'm really disappointed in the schools and the system and a lot of things. I'm disappointed in a lot of things. And it's like I worry, like, oh my God, where should she go? Or she's going here, but like what's gonna happen? But I love that, like you said, like it doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter where you came from. They're just like they want the awareness. They're asking questions, they're curious. That's all it is. And
Right.
then they come to us, or an adult, a teacher, another family member, and then they come to us for some more answers because we're their guardian, or we're someone that is an adult and gets it. And like, so we are, like you said, we're it's taught. So it's really like, get yourself straight before you bring a child into this world, because we want to love the kids, we want to help them, but also they're gonna want to help themselves, and they're not even given the tools for that at home. The parents don't have the tools, and the teachers have the tools, but they're not even like, they gotta teach, they gotta do tests, they gotta have, like, we have so much stuff to do even when we go home. Like, we don't even get the chance, and when you do get the chance to do something, sometimes you might get in trouble for it. So
Right. So then, is this how you created the phrase ghost software? Because it is such powerful language. Like, how would someone listening recognize that in their own life?
So I go back and forth between like construction and then a computer, because some of it's like a glitch, like you feel like you're not there. And then the other thing is like really reconstructing building from, I think, the Three Little Pigs, some sticks and stuff, and it's getting blown down. And you're like, okay, I need to go slower with this. I need to pay attention. I need to put that stuff on. So, what was your question?
So you use the phrase ghost
Oh,
software.
yes, Go Software Computer. I got on the bricks and Three Little Pigs. Yes, the Go Software. So that means like the things that the choices, the decisions you make, the characteristics that you have are things that were already programmed in you from the way you grew up. Our childhood trauma, our wounds, the neglect, whether it was a little too extreme, all follow us. And I like to talk about like how when I went to school, because I thought after I left my childhood home and my family and was going to start my new life, that that's I'm not going to be this, and I'm going to start my whole new life. God brought me back here to my hometown, 7 minutes away, and back to the school that I worked at. So I'm like, oh, so that's in one thing. That's great. It was my dream job once I left college. I actually really wanted to go there, and it was a dream come true when I was there. But through the way, I've learned that through my relationships, the places that I've lived, the places that people that I've met, the relationships of my family have all brought me exactly to somewhere where I was like, yeah, that checks off why I picked that person, or that checks off why I act this way. And then you start to internally, like, you're looking outward a lot, and that makes you go inward when your outward world isn't really fitting into your inward world. And I like to talk about my inner child and how I felt like that was dormant a lot. Like a lot of the years. And I feel like just simply being like, what were my dreams as a kid? And not having those passions anymore, not feeling like I could achieve those passions. That's just something small, like career wise, but there's a lot of things that our inner child yearns for that we're not giving any light to at all. And that's what I felt like I was in, this darkness. And that's kind of what that ghost software, it's like that entity, or that behind you kind of generations of DNA, like embedded in you actually, that is just there. It's there. And like once you, and that goes into my RIP framework. I came up with this framework of like 4 different seasons of like ripping the band-aid off. And that first two is recognizing, and recognizing that like gives you some resilience, realizing, like being aware of, wow, like, yes, this happened with my family, with my mom, this happened with my mom's. And even going up to being like really interested in my background and ancestry.com, and wanting to connect with other family members and be like, who is this person and how did this person come to be? And just being a Black woman and having that history, there's stuff in us of just not being authentic, not being able to be upfront about who we really are. That was something that I had to go through and start deleting things in a way of a computer sense, start deleting things and like putting in new software, updating and stuff like that. And that's what it felt like. I felt like at a time like I was kind of getting off the surface of my healing. But when I had my daughter, it was like the instinct was there too, but the other thing like logically was like, no, you got to get this together. This is just going to be another repeat and I can not do that. That was not the plan. And it's not his plan. So
Right. So then, like, I'm guessing that this framework that you're talking about is the Soul Reconstruction Project.
yes.
So what would that really look like in everyday terms? So someone's watching and they're just like, okay, I love what she's talking about. Is there one or two things that they would implement every day that could be easy before they connect with you later after the show?
I would say the first one that I already said, journaling and writing. If you're someone that's not interested in therapy, which I still always say that people need professional help. It's always good to have close relationships and talk with people and get that mindset because they know who you are. But I think it's really best to get professional help from the people that learn about it and like spend their career in life like to help people like you. So like I encourage therapy. But I think therapy is different than coaching. So, like, one thing journaling can do is it could make you upset, but it can also make you feel really good. It could just be like a nice release for 5 minutes. Like, I feel like you can get up to a gradual pace of where you want to go, but writing, I think, is really, really important. And another thing I would say is getting into a hobby that you know you love.
Mhm.
Like I've met different women who have gotten into things like ballet and they're in their 40s or 50s, or they started a book club, like different things that you're like, I wanted to do that. Well, why haven't you? And that's what someone told me last year that someone told him. And it's like it's about passing down that wisdom to other people. And that's why I feel like in that classroom, I felt like those 10 years old and I'm talking to them and teaching them these lessons that they're not even able to reciprocate because they're not emotionally available to be there. They want to be there in a different way or they're checked out. And I'm just trying to get to the mass of the schools, the colleges, like anyone on the internet. Like I feel like that was another thing that was a switch for me was digitally being open. Like I was being authentic with myself in my life. And that's another part of the framework is the P. One of the P's is purging, like what doesn't serve you. And that's what I had to do. Like it's like I have this new software, but there are still things that are here that are not aligned with me. Some
Mhm.
things God just took it away for me. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that was gonna go. And then some things I was like, okay, yeah, like I'm getting it now. Like this needs to go. And the last part of the P is peace in the program and kind of being at peace at this new kind of new identity that you have. Because a lot of people are gonna be like, wow, she's like a totally different person. And it's like, yeah, like usually when you get rid of a lot of negative things in your life, you look better, you sound better, your mind is better, like you're on a better path.
Mhm.
And that is what I want everyone to be able to do. And I want them to know it's not easy. So the two things I would say if we're starting out flat, because it's a, like I said, it's a whole brick house of things that you have to rebuild, especially I feel like there's two sides of it. People who figure it out kind of early and start to rebuild and then do what they need to do to figure it out. And some people just don't get it and things fall. You go to a pit and everything comes crashing down and you really have to start from scratch. So whether wherever you are, I feel like journaling, writing, and just quietness or listening to your favorite music. Listening, I'm a big music fan. I think music is a big also thing. If I had to add a third one and be like music, find that music you love, dance once a day, wherever for 5, 6 minutes. Exercise is good. Like there's so many easy things that can connect all that, like make that braid connect to your mind, body, and soul. You
Mhm.
write, you listen to music, do a little dance. You did all those three. Like
Mhm.
you definitely put some light in your soul by doing that thing, and you're going to be able to look at that journal entry one day, or someone else might. Maybe you never look at it again. that doesn't matter. I just think writing in general is important, and getting your thoughts out on paper instead of, I don't feel like, maybe just thinking about it and then the thoughts go fleeting away. Like there's something powerful about writing things down. I mean, that's literally.
That's awesome. So when you look back on your own journey, was there a moment when you realized that your story wasn't just something you survived, but something you're meant to serve others?
Um, yeah, just everything where when I spoke, I started to feel like a public speaker. Like I started to feel like, and I a lot of my friends would tell you this because I'll check myself. I'd be like, sorry if I sound like a teacher, sorry if I sound like a motivational speaker, like sorry. And it's like, okay, well, don't apologize. I know that they're feeling good and uplifted about what you're saying. Like I know. So I started like feeling like a preacher. And like I obviously as a teacher, that just comes with some sort of that territory, but in a way, like it was like things that were really at my core and my heart of what I wanted to say and do were not being spoken. And then when I would speak it out loud to other people, um, and I find this funny too. I was telling this to someone the other day. In this abusive relationship, I started to quiet down. I was not open. I got off of socials. I definitely was not being my authentic self. I was just trying to live and make money because I'm a single mom now. Like I'm up in here and I did not expect this was going to happen. But here I am and I'm going to go through it. And I ignored a lot of things in that way. But I got to a point where my daughter wanted to go on play dates. My daughter wanted to do all these things with different people, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I have to come out the shadows. Like, so I started talking to people, and I'm a natural talker, and so it got to a point where I was getting a lot of wisdoms from a lot of people. So a time where I did need that introspection, I did need that inner work and grind and stuff. There is a point where we all need to come together and be a tribe and be a community. And I think that's the biggest thing, school teaches is community, but we're not getting all the parts of it. But I would say definitely it's that community part that helped me, and people being like, I wish I had done that. You should do that. Oh, here's how you do it. Like literally, it was like, okay, it downloads kind of even from just me coming up with ideas and being like, okay, well, I know I've already made a worksheet for this. I've already come up with this program. What else can I do with this baby? That's what it feels like. This other baby that I've created that I want to use to help other people. How can I do that? How can I get that out to a mass amount of people? And so then the algorithm just starts figuring things out and putting stuff in your face. And that's when I'm like, okay, Sonic, like Zoom.
So then, have you ever felt like there's more of your story that hasn't been fully shared yet? Maybe in a way that, could become a deeper resource for others?
Yes. And something I've been struggling with is that another reason why I went back into my journals, because there's a lot of things I blocked out. So I want to be honest and authentic and surreal. And also just, I want it to come from an honest place. One thing that I'm working on right now is like being out in a large crowd, because I'm in a program for TEDx and I'm applying for applications, and that's something, thank you, like something that's been daunting. Like all the logistics of it has been daunting, including the speech. And it's like, I always felt like there would be backlash. And that would come from me, that would come from family, it would come from the exes or whatever. And it was always the like what the few, the many, the little would say. And then it was like, it came to a point where, well, who needs to hear this though? So, like, regardless. And then I had people telling me, like, wow, like, just you telling me that the 2 minutes of what you told me, like, it settled with me in a way that, like, I connect to it. Can tell you how many people I've connected to also. And after I got out of that a relationship, I joined things like a safe place and Zachariah Center, like places that really work with those survivors. And that's what I call us, superheroes that have been trying to have our our superhero capes yanked from us. But like we've been meant to have them. And I think that it's special that we are talking about this today after Mother's Day, because happy Mother's Day to everyone, because we are literally, And I've talked to some women who really, they see the mother wound as life or death. We are bringing in the next generation. We are really architectures of the future. And if we are single mothers, we don't have the whole foundation there to really like have a healthy, stable like utopia in a way. So it's important that we work on ourselves and know how to do it. We have to go back and look, and that's the hard part, that a lot of people just freeze up, the flight, like I don't have time, they're functionally depression, or they're actually depressed, so they're taking medicines, and they're like, I can go on for days. What we're ignoring is really hurting us. And that's what I was doing up until one point where I couldn't. When you're looking at a little baby and they're looking at you like, I need some milk, and you like, I don't have any milk in my breast. I don't know why. You start to just have like a different perspective, and it's hard to ignore. And then it's hard to ignore your child when they're right there.
Yeah. Well, and having children, you really it puts everything in perspective really quickly, and it should make you want to be a better person. It doesn't always, obviously. We always hear about the stories where it doesn't, but I know we can only control ourselves and what we do for our children, right? So anyone listening is just like, I don't know where to begin. Sounds really great, but they want to connect with you. How would they be able to do that? Because like, I really want Miss Ginell to, help me figure out how to move forward. I really like the idea of being able to identify the ghost software. I'd love to be able to put together and go through her Soul Reconstruction Project. How do they do that?
So, I would start with, and you're saying connecting like with the mother or guardian.
With you.
With me. How did I do that? Well, like I said, for one, a lot of the things are shifted for you. So when I say career, a lot of people are losing their jobs. In the last 6 years, the amount of people losing their jobs have skyrocketed, and people are left with the decision of, okay, well, was I doing all this work I put in and then I got laid off like this, or all this work I put in and now it meant nothing. Now I just got to hurry up and find another job. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if I like it. I don't even know if I really like that other job, if I was soulless at that other job. So that was one of my things were my career. Like, I love teaching. And I love educating kids. But in the confinements of teaching and education right now, I was slowly being pulled away from the emotional part of that because I felt a calling to do more, like just literally just do more. So I think just having that calling of your career and what you want to do, a lot of people sit with, are you doing what you want to do? And if you're saying, like a simple chart, yes or no, if you're at maybe not or no, then the next step is, well, what do you want to do? What is everything? Some people are like, okay, I only have this degree, so I have to apply to these jobs. We all have degrees from all different areas, and we're all still learning. Hopefully we're all still learning things. Even just by being a teacher, I learn things, and I do my own research. And it's like, I feel like there's people out here with many, many degrees that they don't have a piece of paper for, but they do the work. They do the same work. They do the same experience and study and all of that. And it's not given the same amount of play as this is the only degree I have. First of all, having a degree is really amazing, but a lot of us can't do that right now. And it's like not even possible. And that already tanks the self-worth. So that's another thing. Self-love and self-worth is another thing that people need to work on, because you're going to emit that same type of energy that you're feeling in yourself to other people. And then that same type of energy is going to come to you. I'll say that again, the same type of low vibrational energy you're bringing out into the world, that's going to be attracted to you. So that's another thing that I focus on with care for my hair. Like, if I'm talking about focusing on things that I want to work on with my child, it was having a connection with her through reading or movies, not just watching a movie blindlessly or reading the same book because we think Froggy is funny because he has to put his clothes on all the time. Like, he has to put his winter clothes back on and change things. Like, I don't, but I love trying to come up with, how can we talk about this in a different way? How can I pause this, or since we don't like to pay for things, we have commercials. This is a perfect time to discuss why that character did that, or other ways that the character could have made a better decision. Like, there's just things that you can do that would like, you see as small, but would be significantly helpful for your child's like growth, emotional growth. So if I had to think of a third thing, um, I would say relationships are really important. So you reflect off your children reflect off that type of energy. So if your child is the one making a bunch of noise and fighting people in the classroom, they're going to attract the same type of rebels. And then you're going to keep the parents that are maybe in that same type of maybe transition, or just not having enough time to focus on their kids, like, or the dynamic, or like anything. So it's just really about focusing on, I feel like it's I don't want to say taboo and it's coming out more, but spirituality and your spirit and your soul is like not talked about a lot. And spirituality is different than religion. And I feel like those get like a little wonky for people, but I have another podcast episode coming up with, we talk about how spirituality is more of an individuality thing, like inside yourself. It's a journey that's by yourself, and religion is more about community and having the storytelling and getting that community to rejoice together. Like, so they're separate. You need both. I don't want to say need, but it is part of your foundation to have a strong one. It's okay to search and look up other religions and have connections with religions that you didn't grow up having connections to. So I think it's even that fear that people have, that anxiety, and we were talking about Inside Out too. Anxiety. I just picture her, the red all around her, and she's just crying. Like, a lot of us have that kind of mindset going on. There's so much going on around us. Like, those things, the little red things around her could literally be anything. And I love Inside Out 2 for that, because it's so complex. And I remember the scene when finally Joey and all of them got in there and they backed out. And I told my daughter, wow, that the building looks a little messy. Like, it looked a little crazy in there, but they're all at peace. They're all quiet, and Riley's okay. So like, pausing, there's a commercial coming, and being able to talk about that with her and really know that she is connecting on that. And then, my God, like, she can make a connection for her own self. So it's so important, social, emotional, like that little hint of souls that I think that teachers give on a daily basis, and parents do too. Anybody in their that they meet in life can also give them those tools and wisdoms and little points of light that can help our children, like, just lead a positive way, get the right information they're supposed to get, and be in the right vibration. And a lot of the kids don't, I mean, I can say a little example right now. A lot of my kids didn't know what meditating was, and that makes me sad. That makes me sad. I think it should be like required, maybe in gym, I don't know, but we would do it like right after recess. How you go from recess to doing math? I don't know, but I know I tell my daughter, from bedtime to, this, we have to have quiet time. And when you're running and you get tired and you need that energy, like, there's just so much that comes to nutrition and sleep, and so many things I've learned along the way with kids, that when it was like, now I'm a mother and I'm doing it for my kids, and it's meaningful in a different way, because it's my legacy. It all changed everything for me. So I'm not saying, also, and I say this a lot, I'm not saying have kids and then you figure it out. No, I want people to figure it out before they have kids, because it's extremely hard. My post on yesterday was like, in 2021, like, literally trying to rebuild while being a single parent, while dealing with abuse, is not for the weak. And it's a whole different thing that I wasn't prepared for motherhood. But I think the whole point was for me to prepare, so that I can help other people not have to do that. Like, I just care about people, and our world is kind of going a little crazy right now, and I just feel like, what can I do to help people in a mass way? Like, what can I do? Because it's like, at some point, a lot of people do feel like that way. Like, I'm not going to do that, or I'm not going to do that, because it really doesn't matter. Nothing's going to change. And that's how a lot of kids sound too. If you think about it, like, nothing's going to change. No, like, please don't have that mindset, because then other people are looking at you and feeling that same way. Like, we're bringing each other down, and all we need to do is heal, And it's little things. It might take years to get to a point where you're like, wow, like I finally feel I got out of my relationship in 2022. So I'm now at this place in 2026 where I've used everything and I've just been like, it's like a bulldozer getting a bunch of dirt. Like it's just been leading me up to this place so that I can officially, I feel like, harvest all these seeds and help so many people.
That's so beautiful. Well, Janelle, thank you so much for your clarity and your steadiness as you bring all this work into the world. And to the listener, remember today's conversation shares something inside of you. Do not ignore it. Patterns can be unlearned, cycles can be broken, and healing is not only possible, it is intentional. So remember, this is Healed Whole Called, where pain is not the headline, healing is. And we'll see you next time. Thanks again.
Bye. Thanks.